All right, here we go. Welcome back to Golf Subpar with Colt, Knost, and Drew Stoltz. Just got back from the CJ Cup, Byron Nelson. What an exciting finish. But before we get to that, Sleaze, this week we're excited to announce our partnership with Callaway Golf and the Paradigm AI Smoke family. Sleaze, I've been with Callaway for over 10 years now. I play this driver. It's absolutely incredible. The most forgiving driver I've ever played. I played a lot of Pro-Ams nowadays. They don't hit the center of the face very often. Good news for them is, with this AI technology, it doesn't matter. It still goes straight. Like I said, the AI Smart Face, which creates sweet spots across the entire face that is sure to deliver exceptional distance with tighter downrange dispersion, is absolutely amazing. The Paradigm AI Smoke, sweeter from every spot. You can visit CallawayGolf.com to shop the Paradigm AI Smoke family and learn more about the line and drive it like me, which is not really that far, but really straight.
Right. The larger the sweet spot, the sweeter the juice. That's what they say.
I love it. Make sure you go to CallawayGolf.com and pick yourself up a Paradigm. All right, let's get to the CJ Cup. Very interesting tournament. It was this golf course gets a lot of hate. The field wasn't the strongest. We had Will Zalatoris withdraw. Scotty Scheffler couldn't be there because they're waiting the birth of their first child. Totally understandable. Jordan Spieth was by far the biggest headliner there. He went out and struggled, missed the cut. But I will say this, because you and I are both big fans of having cuts at events. It was exciting on Friday watching him grind it out, try to make the cut.
Yeah, he was trying to make the cut. It was just a huge loss for Byron as a whole. For no Scotty, no Will. Those are two of your biggest headliners. And then Jordan's the other guy, and he's not around for the weekend. It's like, dude, these are the local stars that everyone wants to see. I mean, there was more interest watching Jordan try to grind out the cut on Friday, I would argue, than maybe there was at any point during the weekend. And we actually ended up having a dramatic finish. It was shocking. It wasn't the biggest names in the world, but yeah, that's a tough beat for the Byron Nelson. It's just, we've talked about this on radio, where it falls in the schedule right now. Also where Colonial falls in the schedule. It's like a big piece of the country in terms of golf fans are kind of getting like diluted events right now. And it would make all the sense in the world, by the way, to have the Byron followed by Colonial, right?
Or vice versa, yeah.
Right. Either way, just back to back for those 2 weeks. Easier said than done. But we ended up getting a good finish. And I mean, just a shocking finish. If you would have told me standing on the 18th tee that, hey, Ben Cole's going to make bogey on this hole. No one had made bogey on that hole the entire day. And the way that it transpired was just, I mean, he just looked shell-shocked at the end of that thing with the 2 chips and the miss. And I think Pendrith was about as surprised as anyone. I was like, dude, 2 putts is going to win this thing?
Yeah, you got a great champion. Taylor Pendrith, President's Cup member for their national squad. He was been knocking on the door, dealt with a lot of injuries throughout his career. Absolutely smashes 186 mile an hour ball speed. But yeah, Ben Coles, I mean, gave his balls a fucking squeeze on 16 and 17. Birdied both of those. All of a sudden took a one-shot lead. Taylor Pendrith made a huge putt for par on 17 to stay one backer. It looked like it could be a wrap right there. And then Ben Coles went for it in 2 on 18, which I totally agree with. It was the play. He had 240 front. No problems with that at all. Got a bad break, in my opinion, staying in the rough instead of going down the bunker. The bunker, you would have had a very predictable lie. Not the hardest shot. You're not going to make worse than 5. You're probably going to have inside of 10 feet for birdie there, but stay in the rough. Didn't agree with the shot he tried to hit. Don't know if it was nerves, what it was. He went with very straight-faced lob wedge and a short backswing out of that Bermuda rough. You've played it. When it sits down like that, it's just, in my opinion, the way to play that shot is kind of like an explosion shot, a bunker shot. Open the face up, nice full swing. Worst case, you hit it 15, 20 feet behind the hole. You still have a chance with Taylor Pendrith on and 2. Shocking bogey. He missed a 5-footer there to force a playoff. But Taylor Pendrith, man, he is a really good player. He's got all the tools to win many times out there if he can just stay healthy. I mean, there's not many guys out there that just, they're average, tee it up and send it on a par 4, par 5 is in the mid 180s. I mean, that's elite ball speed.
That's the guys that are winning all the biggest tournaments, pretty much what they're doing. His game sets up good for big events. He's starting to kind of pick them off now. President's Cupper in the past, going to be another President's Cupper going forward. He's kind of making that progression. And while this wasn't like the most star-studded leaderboard, it wasn't great. If you're not a diehard golf fan, like you probably didn't recognize a lot of those names that were up there. But like, this is where new dudes are made. Like, you pretty much have to start somewhere. Nobody just comes out, for the most part, first tournaments, I'm going to start winning majors and just, boom, catapult to stardom, like a Ludwig Oberg or something like that. Like, yeah, you got to win some of these lower ones, and you kind of work your way up. And going forward, he's going to be a name to look at. He's going to be good, and I'm sure Mike Weir's pretty happy with the way things are going. They got tough sledding up there in Montreal, so he needs some dudes coming in with some form.
Well, they're going to have a lot of support up there in Canada because I imagine Taylor Pendrith's going to be on that team. Adam Hadwin, Nick Taylor, Mackenzie Hughes is fighting for a spot. So you could have 4 Canadians on that team.
Easily. I mean, like Svensson, who's to say Adam Svensson couldn't rattle off a win here somewhere and work his way in the argument? There's a lot of them, but they took just a huge hit. President's Cup, especially with a lot of the international guys, the South American guys that have been stalwarts, some Australians that have been on that team that aren't going to be there going forward. They got decimated.
I want to vent for 1 second about the Byron Nelson because this is the first PGA Tour event to ever have a player's name on it, the Byron Nelson, okay? And this tournament used to be incredible. I love the salesmanship, guys. This place has a very special place in my heart. It was my first ever start on the PGA Tour when I was in college at SMU. I grew up going to the golf tournament. There are 4 tournaments on the PGA Tour that are involved with current or past PGA Tour players. You got the Arnold Palmer Invitational, you got the Memorial, which is Jack Nicklaus's tournament, the Genesis, Tiger Woods, and you got the Byron Nelson, okay? 3 out of those 4 are signature events and get loaded fields. The Byron Nelson used to get a loaded field. I know the dates don't always work out. I don't know if it's the golf course. I don't know what it is. I've played Craig Ranch a million times. Went there a lot in college. Love the place. But ever since they have moved away from Las Colinas, it's lost some of its vibe. And I hate that. I don't know what we got to do. We got to get that tournament back there. All of Dallas came out. I mean, it was circled on the calendar for the city of Dallas. It was right around NBA playoffs, Dallas Stars playoffs. And it was just a great week. And it was a great week this week because you had all that going on. But the vibe at the golf tournament just isn't the same. We need to get it back out to Las Colinas, make this tournament great again. I mean, this is Byron Nelson, one of the greatest to ever play the game, and he deserves a lot more respect than what he's getting right now. We need some of the best players in the world to show up there and play. There's
so many golf fans in Dallas and Fort Worth for that matter too, but that place is deep. That place is deep out there. I used to come up for the Byron Nelson when I was in college because it was a fun part. It was a vibe. It was a party, right? Now you don't have that anymore. Where it falls in the schedule is a problem too. And I would even scale that out to what you said about Byron. Like Colonial doesn't have Ben Hogan's name attached to it, but that's his spot. You walk in, there he is. There's the hawk. There's the statue. You go in the pros, the locker room. Like here's all of his stuff. I feel like with the amount of pros that live in Dallas, the amount of golf fans, how big golf is down there, and the fans will show up if you put it in a spot, where it's easy to, where they can get to it. At least one of those 2 events, I feel like deserves to be a signature event. Like give that part of the country one of the marquee events on the PGA Tour. Because right now I just feel like they've taken 2 great events and diluted both of them and moved them around to where it's just like now they're not even connected on the schedule and they both get lesser fields than they're used to getting. Maybe it'll change with Colonial's redo. Maybe more guys will show up. But the week after the PGA, a lot of guys take a knee, understandably. Just tough in the schedule for both those. But you'd like to see Dallas/Fort Worth get something.
Yeah, the schedule's tough. And I'll give a huge shout out to Jordan Spieth. And I know Scotty Scheffler would have played if they weren't waiting on the birth of their first child, which is great. I love when the stars in your hometown play, and they should play. So I know they'll support that event. We got to figure out something to make this tournament back to what it was. Dallas is such a great sports city. They love all their sports plus golf, and they come out and support it. It's not happening ever since we moved away from Las Colinas. And I don't know if it's a money thing. I have no idea. I'm not involved in that side. The Salesmanship Club does an incredible job, just like the Thunderbirds here. They put on a hell of a tournament. I just want to get back to that vibe it used to have. It used to be the Phoenix Open and the Byron Nelson were the 2 party events on tour, and everyone came out. And lately, that hasn't been happening, so we got to figure it out. Got a lot of great players that live in Dallas. I know a lot of great players that it's easy to get there, and they loved that Las Colinas event. The course wasn't the greatest, but it was perfect to host a tour event.
Yeah, easy place to get to, right there in the heart of Dallas. You get your casual fans. Right now, if you want to go out to that thing, like you got to want it. You got to want it bad. Get out there. DPC Craig Ranch, like halfway to Oklahoma, feels like.
Oh, Pilot Point, Tiger King.
Yeah, PP. Out there at PP. Yeah, home of the king, the Tiger King. Most famous guy ever to come out of Pilot Point.
That's true. And shout out to Tom Brady and the Netflix guys for the roast. You mentioned Tiger King, which was an unbelievable rant during that thing, during that roast. But the roast was incredible. If you haven't checked it out, please
need more. Bring it back. I feel like they're kind of back now after that. PC gloves came off for a night. Everyone said whatever they want to say. No feelings are hurt. It's okay to laugh. Just words. More of those, please. Shout out Tom Brady for taking the abuse. He did well at the end, too.
He did great.
Had some good jokes.
The world laughed. It was amazing. Guess what, guys? It's jokes. They're meant to make people laugh. It's not serious.
It's okay.
Just having a little fun.
No canceling. It was beautiful. Gloves were all the way off after a couple-year hiatus.
You know what else?
From the roast game.
Well, Sleeves, you know what else is beautiful? We are going to be at the PGA Championship next week, Valhalla, Louisville, Kentucky, and we are proud to partner with Bardstown Bourbon Company, one of the finest bourbons in all the land, the first destination on the Kentucky Bourbon Trail to combine distilling, culinary, and beverage expertise to create the modern bourbon bourbon experience. Immerse yourself in the award-winning whiskeys from the 2023 Worldwide Whiskey Producer of the Year. If you can't make it out, be sure to check us out at the Tasting Room in Louisville. We are going to be there during the PGA, a live recording around 5 p.m. Eastern Time. We're going to have a very special guest. As of right now, we're going to be joined by PGA champion and one of our favorite dudes here at Subpar. Rich Beam is going to be in the house.
It's going to be a glorious occasion. What's better than doing a live show at a tasting room for bourbon with a guy, Rich Beam, who likes to partake a little bit. So this could be a nice, very free-flowing, little loose show here, courtesy of Bardstown Bourbon. Shout out.
Yeah, make sure you come out to Bardstown Bourbon, the tasting room there in Louisville.
We're going to taste.
We'll be there Tuesday evening. I cannot wait to get amongst it with all the fine people out in Louisville. Well, our guest this week, he's not old enough to have
can't
bourbon.
drink it.
He cannot have any bourbon, but he can play some golf. That is for sure. Made history recently on the Korn Ferry Tour, making the cut, finishing top 25 at just 15 years old. Miles Russell, this kid is unbelievable. Here he is on Subpar.
All right, what a beast we have with us here today. He's one of the young rising stars in the game of golf, the youngest player to ever be named AJGA Player of the Year, recently became the youngest player to ever make a cut on the Korn Ferry Tour, and he dusted a lot of our friends in the process, which is beautiful, so we already love him. Miles Russell joins us. How we doing, Miles?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, man. Thank you so much for joining us. Congrats on a great week down there at the Suncoast Classic. T20, 15 years old. Take us through, first of all, what was the week like for you? Playing on a sponsor exemption, you get there, you show up, you're playing against guys. This is what they do for a living. Did it feel any different than your normal like AJGA tournament?
It does. I mean, everybody's big, so there's not many people your size, but no, everybody's. I mean, it's very serious. Like, there's not much goofing off going on, and everybody's on the putting green doing their own drills. Everybody has a TrackMan on the range, and normally it has one or two people with them working on stuff. So it's definitely a little different than what you'd see on like an AJGA range.
Yeah, and everyone's just miserable out there, and they're just hating their golf games after a long season. A little different than the AJGA, dude. And very seriously, and I'm sure you were nervous. Of course, everyone's nervous. You're making your pro debut. You're in your hometown. But did I see a clip of you? I believe I saw it on your Instagram, by the way, chipping off the first green of that event, back flag, water long, and you just, instead of putting it, you decided to just pitch it into the back portion and use the slope?
Yeah, so I think that was my 10th hole of the day, first round, and I hit that same putt in the practice round to where that pin was. And I mean, I got this thing up to the back fringe and it started coming back at me. I'm like, there's no way this is going to get down there. I mean, it ended up 70 feet away in the practice round. So I was walking up and my coach, Ramon, I'm like, we're going to have to chip this. Like, I hit this putt in the practice round. I didn't get it anywhere close. He's like, okay, we'll see. And I'm like, no, we are going to have to chip this. And I grabbed the wedge and he grabbed the putter out of the bag. And we're looking at him like, I have to chip it. Like, there's no way to get it close with a putter. And he was trying to get me to take like this little, like, spin it up against the ridge and have it kind of just trickle down. I'm like, the hill's too big to do that. So like, I'm just going to like throw one up past it, try to get to check and use the backstop. And I was able to do that.
Well, from everyone I've talked to, everyone just raves about your short game. Like, it's just world class. Like, you chip from 3 inches off the green. You don't even think about pulling the putter out. If you were going to have to break down your game for us, like, what would you say is your strength and what is something you think you need to work on for when you eventually do turn professional?
I mean, my chipping, I'd say probably the best part of it. My short game is always pretty good, but I mean, it varies. Like, my putting can be a strength one week. I just have to, if I get on like good greens that I like, I mean, my putting is pretty darn good. And then my ball striking is really solid. I think it morely depends on the greens. If I have good greens, I'd say my putting is my strength, but it could also be a weakness.
Yeah, all aspects appear to be pretty good right now based on what you're doing. I mean, you're winning everything on the junior circuit, so you're used to winning. But be honest, going into last week, all right, you're getting your first start, Korn Ferry event. What were the expectations? Like, what would you have said? This would be an awesome week. This is what I expect to do.
I mean, just to make the cut was definitely a goal. But, I mean, especially after making that cut, like, my second goal was to top 25. And, that was a big thing going into the weekend. But you had to make the cut to be able to top 25. So that was definitely the bigger goals. But no, I had no idea what to expect teeing it up on Thursday.
All right, well, you got you a spot in the Veritex Bank Championship the next week. And, I mean, you played pretty solid. You shot 4 under for 2 days. It's just crazy the scores those guys were shooting. I mean, 7 under par was the cut. What was that second week like for you?
I mean, it was very similar. It was just another cool experience to kind of have under your belt and to get to enjoy it another week in a row. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, put together some good rounds under par out there. After your 2 weeks, like you've gotten a lot of publicity in the golf media world for doing what you're doing. Have you heard from anyone that kind of like made you step back and like, whoa, that's pretty cool?
The tweet from Phil was pretty cool. You know, I had a buddy, we were driving home for dinner on, like, oh, did you see, Phil gave you a tweet or a shout out? I'm like, well, no, what are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, look. And I think that was probably one of the cooler kind of messages I got.
Pretty cool. Phil is always taking notice, obviously a fellow left-hander. Who would you say is the guy you look up to the most in professional golf?
I don't know. I like them all. I try to copy different parts from all their games. And, you know, he was definitely one when I was little. I mean, I was 3 and, you know, lefty, like, oh, I want to be like him. And, yeah, I mean, he was definitely one of the guys I looked up to for a long time.
Yeah, that's got to be surreal when a guy that's like one of the greatest to ever do it is sending a tweet out to you and you're 15 years old and just catching it. Who are some of the other pros around your area? You're in the Jacksonville area. I know you got some pros around there. Steve Wheatcroft, I've heard you mention, but who are some of the guys you go play with on a regular basis? Money games, all that.
I'll play with Vince Cavello probably once or twice a week. He's on, I believe, medical right now, getting ready to go back out maybe later this summer. I play with Raul Pereira. I can't say his last name, but he's a rookie this year. My coach works with him, so that was a good kind of connection that we have. But I play with Evan Harmlang, which he played well last week at the Vertex. I think came I think it was last I looked, he was 4th. But those are kind of the guys.
Yeah, and then I heard you have like a regular game out there. You play with like an ex-fireman, maybe a financial guy, but they're all like around 50 years old, and there you are, 15, just going out there and getting amongst it with them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I play with a guy named Joe Russo. He was a fire captain in the FDNY, so he has a ton of stories. I play with a ER doc, I think 35, and I mean, he's just a blast. I play with a retired doctor. He is 54. I mean, the nicest guy you'll meet, funniest guy. I mean, he can make you laugh I mean, your day might just be miserable, but he'll make you laugh somehow. And then obviously Weedy, he's just fun.
I heard a good story the other day where you lost $35 to Weedy, and you went over and handed him 40 and said, "Keep the change."
Yes,
Love
yes,
that.
that is the case with him sometimes.
Hey, you got that NIL money. You can throw it around a little bit.
It'd be nice, but I can't even touch it. So
that's funny.
Yeah, that's tough. Never thought about that. Glad you brought that up. But I'll give you a question because I feel like I might know the answer to it. But who's out of your whole group, the guys you just mentioned, pros included, who's the most fun? Who do you enjoy taking money off of the most?
Probably the ER doc, Drew Clare. He's probably the most competitive and the one we talk most trash back and forth to. So whenever I can get into his wallet, it's definitely a good feeling.
That's awesome. I love that. We all got that one guy we enjoy beating the most or hate losing to the most. So I love hearing that it's him for sure.
And I mean, it's him too, because he gets a stroke on a 150-yard par 3, and I hit it to 2 inches the other day, and he chipped it in for a 2-1 on me. So when you can beat that guy, it's a great feeling.
Love that. A few weeks ago, you were up at the Players Championship, and you got to do a little walk and talk with Scotty Scheffler. What was that like?
Oh, it was a great experience. I mean, to meet a guy like Scotty, probably one of the nicest guys out there. He was really cool. I mean, just a great guy to walk along with.
Are you a guy that do you watch a lot of golf when you're not playing? And what he's doing right now is just absolutely ridiculous. How much does that inspire you?
I do watch some golf. I'll watch it more on the weekends, but no, it's, I mean, really cool to look up to somebody like that to see what he's doing. I mean, it's almost something what Tiger used to do. I was too little to remember anything that Tiger did, but just hearing stories about him, I mean, it was, I mean, it's sort of the same, but not quite close enough to be the same. But no, it's really something that you look up to and hopefully thrive to do one day.
All right, before we get back to our interview with Miles Russell, I want to tell you guys about a new video coming out on our YouTube page. You've all heard about the 8 a.m. Invitational hosted by Justin Timberlake, Jimmy Fallon. We got a new behind-the-scenes look at my day, one of the most fun days I've had on a golf course, teamed up with Jimmy Fallon, Justin Timberlake caddying. You can see the shenanigans. You can see how loose it gets towards the end of the video with Chandler Parsons and Blake Griffin. It's a hell of a time. Check it out. Go to our YouTube page, golf_subpar. Like, subscribe, do all the stuff. You don't want to miss it. Back to our interview. Miles, give us a look. What's like an average day of school look like for you in terms of like school, practice, things like that?
Well, today, Monday, my golf course is closed, so I've been doing school all day. So this is a nice break. But something like tomorrow, I might do a little bit of schoolwork in the morning, but probably go to the course around 8:39, and do a little practice, go play, eat some lunch, maybe go play more, practice more, and then kind of come home, do some schoolwork as it gets darker, and kind of do schoolwork probably till 9:30, 10, and repeat the next day.
Rinse and repeat all day, every day. I know you're just 15. You're a freshman in high school. Is there any thoughts of college golf or anything yet?
Not really. Definitely want to stay somewhere where it's warm. I'm not a fan of the cold, so we'll see how that adventure goes.
I think you'll have a choice of wherever you want to go.
You're going to have some options.
Yeah.
Yep. Just
so.
keep an open mind. Keep an open mind. So that's something you're not. By the way, what's the rules with coaches right now? They're not even allowed to talk to you till a certain time, right? Is it your junior year?
Yeah, so going into my junior year. So this summer I'm going into my sophomore year, so it'd be next summer.
Okay. Gotcha. And what do you have lined up? Do you have your summer schedule lined up now in terms of everything you're going to play?
I do. Obviously, it can still change, but yeah, it's looking like a bunch of AM stuff and a couple junior events sprinkled in, and yeah, it's gonna be a busy summer.
And I saw later on this year you got a spot on the PGA Tour down in Bermuda.
I did. Yeah, looking forward to it.
That'll be your first PGA Tour event. That'll be awesome to go down there on a golf course that should be really good for you, in my opinion.
I hope so. I heard it's pretty grainy and tight, which it's kind of my favorite. So, yeah.
Give me a list of maybe like your top 3 golf courses you've played.
You know, I don't like that question because I've played some good ones. I like different courses for different reasons. I think like some courses I like for, I mean, how nice they are. Like I played Sage Valley this year for the Junior Invitational, the junior one. That might be one of the nicest golf courses I've played, right there with Wade Hampton. But I think from like an atmosphere vibe, the Grove was really cool. Sage Valley and probably Renaissance over in Scotland.
I played there. It's a good one.
Nice lineup. Miles, after playing a couple events on the Korn Ferry Tour, you got a PGA Tour event lined up this fall, as you said. Does it change your perspective on junior events? I mean, I know you've won a ton of them. I'm sure you have more goals that you haven't accomplished yet, but is it hard to get up for those after events like this?
No, I don't think so. I don't think it will be. I mean, I'll play one here in the end of May, so we'll see how it goes. But no, I mean, I'll treat it just the same way as I did the Elite Com. So I think it'll be the same preparation, same kind of focus for it, but maybe not quite as many nerves, but yeah.
Do you get like extremely nervous or no? Because you seem like you're pretty cool, calm, and collected.
I'll get a little nervous, but it's nothing too crazy. But no, I mean, once you hit that first tee shot, you're good to go from that first walk to your second shot there on one. My heart rate will go down and we'll be good.
All right, before we get back to our interview with Miles Russell, I want to tell you about Rowback. It's no surprise, Sleaze. I'm all about comfort, and the best feel, best fit thing out there is Rowback. These are my favorite hoodies on the planet. You got the crew neck on. You look fantastic. They do polos, hoodies, crews. They do it all, and nothing is more comfortable than Rowback. You want to get some yourself? We're going to give you 20% off. You just got to go to rowback.com. That's RHOBACK.com. Use code SUB, S-U-B, for 20% off. Make sure to check out before summer, and they'll have you ready for whatever travels or activities you have. Rowback.com, code SUB for 20% off. Back to Miles Russell.
Have you done any media training leading up to this? Because listening to you talk, if there wasn't a video on it, but the dude's 35.
Yeah.
No, I've not done any media training or anything.
Well, you're really, really good at it, obviously. I mean, everyone's
good
told
job.
me you're the most mature 15-year-old they've ever come across. So it's really impressive, man. You've obviously got an extremely bright future. We can't wait to see, what lies ahead for you. But we're going to get to the E9 real quick with you, have a little fun with you here. And we mix up this first question a little bit, Miles, to everybody, but you're a young fella, 15 years old. Give us your celebrity crush.
I don't even have one. I don't even know. I couldn't tell you.
He's focused on golf, Sleaze.
Married to the game. He's married to the game already. Respect. Keep that head down, right. Miles. Put the blinders on, bud. You keep doing what you're doing. All right, I'll ask you one. We've harped on your age. I don't want to beat it to death, but you're going to be one of the few 16-year-olds, assuming you can touch your NIL money, who actually has money to buy a car at the age of 16. Let's say you could get whatever you wanted. First car, 16 years old. What are you getting?
Do we have a price range, or is it just whatever I want?
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
I don't know. I like the X5s or X7s. My grandpa has an X5, an X7. It has a little bigger engine in it, and it's pretty sweet ride. So that's definitely a dream car for sure.
All right, I like
Classy.
it.
Classy.
All right, next one, Miles. Most strokes a former PGA Tour player has ever asked you for?
Steve Wheatcroft today just asked for 5-a-side. So he will be getting 10 the next time we play, and I don't think that's going to be very fair, but we'll see how it goes.
What?
Weedy, that is embarrassing. My God.
5-a-side. Are you giving these to him? Are you going to agree to that? I mean, he's a professional.
I don't know. I might have to play a tee or two up. Let's see.
Okay. Yeah. Feels like tough
gotta be able to drive
sledding.
a couple more greens.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like what you give to your local dentist, not a fellow professional. All right, I read this about you, that you said one thing you needed to learn after the first week was you needed to tighten up your autograph game. You need to get a little bit faster with it. I was wondering how'd that go and how many seconds now to get through a Miles Russell signature?
We haven't done it much, but I've done a little practicing. It's still a work in progress for sure, but just gotta get like a little neater, but a little cleaner at the same time.
Yeah, you can go fast, but make sure people can read it. You got to be able to know who signed it. So I do respect that part. All right, Sleaze and I, we're obviously a lot older, 38, 39 years old. Our earliest, some of our earliest Tiger memories are 1997 Masters. What would be Miles Russell's first Tiger Woods memory? Do not say 2019 Masters.
Sweet mother of God, it's going to be that, dude.
It was.
It is.
I feel like I remember. Actually, I remember too. I was in the autograph section at TPC when I was little, and I was, so small. I was in the back, like the little line, and I didn't get his autograph, and I was so upset. But I think the one I remember more of was I was at Hazeltine for the Ryder Cup, and we were, so many holes ahead, and I think he just came rolling up in a cart, and he was right there, and I think I got a picture with him he was totally turned away, but I got a picture, and I think that's the first one I truly remember of him and getting to see him in person.
2016, Sleaze.
Okay, it's 3 years before what I thought was going to be said, so it's a It's a little bit better. You got to go check this 97 Masters online. I'm sure it's on YouTube. You should check that. It was a hell of a run before you're out here doing your thing. All right, I got a hypothetical for you here, Miles, and this is something that actually could happen next year. You get an invite to play the Zurich Classic, okay? You can get any partner you want, not named Scotty Scheffler. Who do you want?
I don't know. I think just to get an invite would be really cool. Mm, I like Scotty, but I can't take Scotty.
Nope,
Yeah,
Scotty's
he's
off the
tough.
table.
would
He's
He's
number
going to
one.
be in
with-
high demand. You got to go with
Yeah.
somebody else.
I don't know. I would go with Ricky or JT.
There you
Perfect.
go.
I've
The
always-
word is
I've
out.
always
I recommend both
I've
those.
always looked up to him. That was definitely some of my favorite golfers growing up. So I think it'd be probably a pretty cool dream to be able to play with them.
I like it.
Let's make that happen.
Could be a tough
Let's
team,
do it.
by the way. All right, next one, Miles. You're out there playing, play with the boys a lot. There's some action on the line. Have you ever not paid a bet when you lost?
No, I don't think so. I think I've always had cash. My wallet is my pretty much bank account on the golf course, so it never leaves my golf bag. So I think we've always had enough cash to pay a bet.
I think there's someone still waiting on a certain book report
As-
that you're supposed to give after losing.
Oh, that
a-
is.
I think we're going to need to get on
Yes.
this book report, bud.
So yes, I think I lost at TPC like the Wednesday after the TPC, but the days later, I was like, how are these strokes been giving out? I was giving a guy 16 shots when I was, I think, supposed to be giving him like 13 to 14. So I think there was a little bit of sandbagging going on. And guess who was keeping score? You know who was keeping score. I mean, it was Weedy keeping score. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I don't trust him much after that one, but definitely make sure to plug in the handicaps out before every time we play now to make sure who's getting the proper amount of strokes.
Maybe we'll have Weedy write the book report for you so we can settle this debt.
There you go.
Yeah, I don't know if losing to a guy that's getting 16 is worthy of a book report. That's a little much. It needs to be a little closer to straight up, I feel like, to warrant a book. Or maybe you slip him a couple bucks, but not a god dang book report. All right. Last one from me. Let's see here. All right, let's go out. Let's say you shock the world and you win in Bermuda this fall. Your options are a little limited given your age, but dream celebration. You get a few days, do whatever you want. Everything's on the table. Plane, whatever you want. What do you do?
I'm not much of a partier. I don't like hanging out with a bunch of people. So I'd probably come back home and probably have a party with my foursome, really, Weedy and those guys I mentioned earlier. But I think it'd be pretty low key and pretty quiet.
Very similar to
It
Sleaze
makes
and I.
sense why you're as good as you are. It makes a lot of sense. I'm getting it. I'm understanding.
Yes. All right. Last one, Miles. Do you think you're the only person who's teed it up in a professional event in the history of golf whose club head speed is a larger number than their weight?
I don't know. I would maybe think so because I don't think there's many people playing on tour that are weigh 115 and swing much faster than that. So I think I'd have to go with yes.
I just missed. It was close, but I just missed.
I was about to say Colt was close, but he just missed it. What are we tipping in at right now, Miles?
We're pretty much equal with it. I mean, I think at LeCom, I think we got one up to one. I think we got up to like 116.9, 117. But I mean, we were moving that day, but it's definitely not that fast all the time.
Damn, that's impressive, man.
What do you
Being that
weigh?
fast. Whew.
I weigh like 115, 116.
Damn, that hurts.
That's wild, man.
That
We're
hurts.
Miles,
moving
man.
that day. We're nice and sweaty.
Okay,
Still, doesn't matter. Still
Fair
moving.
enough.
But
fair
dude, man,
enough.
congrats on all the success. Keep it up. Best of luck in the future. We appreciate you coming on with us.
Thanks for having me.
All right, that was the young fella, Miles Russell, joining us here on Subpar Sleaze. The man obviously has a ton of game, already has a couple NIL deals, TaylorMade, Nike. It's just unbelievable. He's just 15 years old. got former tour players. Steve Wheatcroft, you should be embarrassed, asking for 5 aside.
I mean, dude, that's 5 aside. When he said 5, I was like, oh, 5 total. That's still outrageous for a professional golfer. Then he said 5 aside. I was like, this can't be real. Unless the kid's shooting 62 every single time he comes out.
Embarrassing.
Embarrassing.
Absolutely embarrassing. What's not embarrassing is I do believe it'd be hard to check this out, but he did make history in being the only person in a professional event to his club head speed be a bigger number than his weight.
It's
not possible.
Who would even be the closest? I mean, Akshay's pretty damn skinny, but he's also 6 whatever. He's tall. He ain't swinging at 150 off the tee. Got to be one of the only kids ever. You were right there. Like you noted, you were right there.
Just missed. So
your others receiving votes, but he did it.
My weight and carry number off the tee were somewhat close.
That's nice too. That's nice too. You know what I mean?
But it was a lot of fun.
All you want on the numbers.
It was a lot of fun sitting down with him. He is going to be a star in the game of golf, and I'm glad we got to sit down with him before he becomes too big time to join us.
Dude, he also speaks like, that's why I asked, like, have you had media training or anything? Like, dude, he's 15 years old. We get grown-ups that get in front of mics and kind of, we say stupid shit all the time, but I was like, this dude sounds polished. It's wild, man. Like, there's no way to speculate what he's going to do from this point on, but like the amount of talent at a young age, like you mentioned Chris Kim at the Byron just making the cut this week, 16. Blades Brown, who we played in the 4-ball last year, he's teeing it up this week at Myrtle. He's got a chance to play the weekend. Miles just did it at 15. Like, it's a joke how good these kids are. So they can't, like, Miles can't even drive a car, much less rent one. These other dudes barely driving, and they're playing against the best players in the world and doing it already. It's tough sledding.
Yeah,
coming up right now.
It's
Get
scary.
good.
It's
Practice
scary.
hard.
You better get good. I tell you what you ought to do as well. If you're traveling, there's only one company you use to ship your golf clubs.
The best partner in the game, Shipsticks. We're all golfers. We all like to go on golf trips. We all hate lugging our clubs through the airport. It is the worst. It's cumbersome. It slows you down. They don't show up. Ruins the trips. Eliminate all that. Ship them. I'm heading to Charlotte tonight. Played golf yesterday, so I'm not shipping them on the way down. We'll be checking them, and then as soon as I'm done with them down there, boom, shipping them back to Scottsdale. Won't have to mess with them. It's just, like we've said it a million times, but it's the only way to go anymore. Once you use it, you never stop. All right, if you want to ship your clubs and you want a little discount doing it, go to shipsticks.com, use code Subpar or shipsticks.com/Subpar, 20% off. Use it. Tell your friends, friends. No other way to do it.
It's Sleaze. I got home last night, saw a dude lugging his clubs through the airport. I mean, like, why would you not use Ship Sticks? Also came up to me and he goes, "Hey, you're that golf podcast guy." And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Sick."
That's your ass.
So shout out for being a fan, but also you should use Ship Sticks.
Yeah, was it Chris Farley from the SNL days?
It was awesome.
Hey, remember that one time?
It was awesome. Okay, once again, make sure if you're in Louisville next week, come to the tasting room, join us. It is going to be a hell of a time. Bardstown Bourbon Tasting Room in Louisville.
Taste with us.
Live show. Rich Beam, sip on a little bourbon, talk a little golf. It's going to be a lot of fun.
What else do you need?
But real quick, before we get going, we do have to make our picks. We got a signature event. Wells Fargo Championship.
Big dogs.
Wyndham Clark, defending champion. This is where it all got started. Seems like many years ago.
How about the 12 months he's had since
been
then?
okay.
Things have changed, Mox.
It has been okay for him, and we got a loaded field. Rory McIlroy is your favorite, 7-1. I mean, the guy averages like 65 around this place, so no surprise to see him as the favorite. Also because Scotty Scheffler is not playing.
You know, I'm happy all these guys are, like, signature event, no Scotty. We're going to have a real golf tournament here, ladies and gents.
Yep. All right, well, we actually never talk about our picks before
weird.
the show.
Yeah.
We actually just announced, like we tell each other, hey, I'm going with him and him. We both wrote down some stuff. We have the exact same pick.
For the first time in the history, we've had one overlap, either a favorite or a dark horse. Never have we had the same
So what
two.
I think that's telling everyone out there is they should fade the shit out of these picks. Sorry to who we're about to pick because this can't be good if we both are on them. But favorite, 22-1. This is where he picked up his first PGA Tour event. I know you played with him recently. Said he looks good. Everything that I've been talking with his coach, Mark Blackburn, about is leaning towards him getting on a really good run, and he loves this golf course. Max Homa, 22-1.
Yeah. I don't know a whole lot more than needs to be said. Yeah, I played with him just yesterday. Wind was blowing like 20 at least, moving it right to left. He's got this little 2-wood that he may or may not put in play, but he could turn that thing over. It still goes miles. Putted it great. It's clean right now in a place that he clearly loves. So, yeah, 22-1 is also, that's a nice, that's got some juice to it.
All right, for my dark horse, 45-1, ball striking machine. He has just been making so much money out on the PGA Tour, just top 10 after top 10 after top 10. The youngest U.S. amateur champion ever. He's going to win on the PGA Tour soon. Why not this week? Give me Ben on, 45-1.
Almost got it done at Sony earlier this year. 4th last week at the Byron, 16 at the Masters. Since he switched to the broom, and he's putting it pretty nice, he's dangerous. Hits it high, hits it hard. Now he's got a putter to go with it. Should be a great golf course for Ben On.
All right, it's going to be a great week with a great field out at Quail Hollow. That's going to do it for us. We'll see you next week at the PGA Championship on Golf Subpar.